Hey, this is Michael Wojcik with the Rochester City Council update for September 16th, 2013. What we're going to talk about today is the 5th on 5th Mayor Override, the a house in the Southwest that's been blighted for a very long time that the City Council took some action on, and something the legislature did for us that I caught today that hopefully will end up saving taxpayers a little bit of money. So, first of all, the easiest one, I guess, uh, just looking over read my packet cover to cover. This all 356 pages or whatever it was this week. And one of the interesting things, I was looking at some equipment the airport was buying, and the legislature basically exempted local governments from sales taxes. And one of the things I noticed is we were buying some serious snow removal equipment out there, and paying like over $41,000 in sales taxes on it. So we pulled that, set it aside, and said, "Hey, why can't we wait until January 1st to get this equipment? Do we have something that will function for a couple more months?" And assuming that we do, should just like that, save the taxpayers $41,000. So there you go. There's my salary for 2+ years. Um, Second thing, actually, I used to live at 1819 3rd Avenue Southwest, and three reasons why we left there. There was just no boulevard street trees of any sorts because it was just marred with utility lines, no safe sidewalks for kids, and then there was this one home that was just awful. Well, small world. Lived there from '99 to 2005, and small world. Here I am showing up at the city council meeting, and guess what house is on our agenda? The senile old man that owns the property, apparently not taking advice or counsel from his family very well, but insisting that he basically has been fighting to not do anything with that property for 2 years, and it finally got to the city council. We delayed it twice. Last time we told him show up or we're going to have the hearing anyways. He did show up. Um, it's he's obviously has some personal issues. I think he's got some mental illness, and I think he's not getting the help that he needs. But at the end of the day, one thing you do not want to do at my city council meetings is come in and say something racist. That will piss me off to no end. And, I don't appreciate his racist comments. I don't really care how old or how senile you are. I don't want you coming into the city council chambers in Rochester, Minnesota and making racist comments. So, anyway, that's how he started out with us. Not a good way to start out. I think he summed it up. We asked, we had to make a determination of whether or not the house was hazardous. So I asked him, "Is the house hazardous?" And he said, "Well, only if you go inside of it." That pretty much helped us make the case. So basically, what we've done after listening to a bunch of pointless, meaningless, unrelated stories for a whole bunch of time, it's finally took some action. The gentleman has 45 days to address the issue. If he does not address it within 45 days, we will begin the legal process of addressing it ourselves. I'm sick of playing games with this guy. There is no conceivable reason why any structure should ever look like that in a neighborhood under any circumstances. You can just go on Google Maps or Street View and see it if you want, but it's part of the roof is missing. It's got asbestos in the basement. It doesn't have utilities. It's been open to animals for years. There's been a number of break-ins, trespasses. Somebody related to the owner had fallen through the floor into the basement. And he was just convinced that if you just give him a little bit more time, he'll fix it up. Well, you know what? It ain't happened in several years, and I don't like the fact that the city council has to babysit people like this. I don't like the fact that we've had to blow the tax dollars into going out there and spending all this time and going through a 2-year process with him. I wish that everyone was responsible and did what was supposed to be done. That's not the case, and again, we took action against a crummy home, and this community and the neighborhood will be better for not having that home there anymore. Hope we can get it done before the winter freeze. Lastly, we had the mayor veto override. The mayor vetoed the 5th on 5th, and I view the overrides a little bit differently. One of the things I told people is that, look, there I don't like overriding mayor vetoes without broad consensus, but I also don't appreciate the way the mayor handled this. He had 17 months to give us some sort of guidance or input, do something positive, and he didn't. He didn't give us any guidance really. And then this veto just kind of came out of nowhere. So I wasn't happy about it, but I always look for broad consensus in overriding a veto. It didn't happen this time. One of the senior members of the council was still opposed to this, and as I stated, without broad consensus, I don't support overriding the vetoes. Even though I thought some of the statements that the mayor made in his override were kind of ridiculous statements. I mean, it's just making up stuff that doesn't. You can say this building is dense or large relative to the apartment buildings that are already in the neighborhood. But the problem is the facts don't bear that out. And I mean, it doesn't matter how many times the Catholic Church says the sun goes around the earth, it's still not true. And some of the mayor's statements just frankly were not true, and they were not well researched. But I think the bigger thing here, I did support the mayor in his veto override because the council did not have consensus to overturn it, but the mayor was still overridden 5-2. And I think there were a lot of people that were just very unhappy with how the mayor handled this, myself included. And I think the real travesty here is if what the mayor was trying to do was really do something positive for this neighborhood and affect this project. At the last city council meeting, all he had to say was, you know what, if you don't limit this to 30 units or whatever it was that whatever arbitrary and capricious number he felt was appropriate, my guess is that would have been a condition added onto the project, and it would have probably passed with 5 or 6 votes, and the veto would have never taken place, and he would have enacted some change that he felt being positive. Instead, he did this thing where he pulled the veto out of nowhere with no communication and not being involved in the process and not giving any guidance. And he ticked off enough council members that came back, and bit him in the butt. The council said, we don't approve of this process. So, while I did take the neighborhood's position and stand by the mayor, I certainly understand why council took the other side. So it's it's a bit of a interesting outcome. I think it's disappointing that that it played out the way it did. And as I think about it more and more, I think what we really need to do is, as a city, we should probably eliminate the restricted development process altogether and make the incentive development process, refine some of the language in there, and make it apply to all circumstances. I think the incentive is viewed as a lot more fair to neighbors. It's certainly viewed as a lot more fair to me, but it was not the correct tool in the toolbox for this particular option. I've said this before. I do believe that when people actually see the building, they're going to realize it's not going to be quite as devastating, I think, as some people have it in their minds. I've seen a number of these come through. In terms of density, this is lower density than I think just about any apartment building that I've worked on in my time in the city council. The floor area ratio is less than 1.5. But at the end of the day, I did vote to sustain the veto. But so if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.